Our dear comrades, Mr. G. Kiran Kumar, President of the All India Student Association, Dr. Swarup R. Shankar, Dr. Sandeep Kumar, Professor Dr. Om Shankar, the famous cardiologist, our external secretary, Mr. Karunanidhi, and Mr. Kumaresan, and other valuable listeners, my dear brothers and sisters. Vanakkam to everybody. First of all, let me thank the organizer for providing a wonderful opportunity and bringing our good friends from other parts of India to pay glowing tributes to Periyar and also to reinvent Periyar and reuse it. Periyar is always a relevant factor in this day. We are here to salute those who salute Periyar because Periyar is the only remedy for all the ills, the social ills that are seen in our country today. We are very happy, and I am particularly impressed by the speeches of all the distinguished speakers, both of them doctors and professors, and socially committed people. Once again, on behalf of Dravida Karaham, it is my bounden duty to acknowledge and sincerely thank them for the wonderful words and also new ideas. Tandai Periyar, as he was popularly called as a great father figure, he was a great social revolutionary, as you all know that. He is a great humanist, as very rightly pointed out by our Dr. Sandeep Kumar. Periyar's humanism is for equality. Periyar's humanist spirit has completely made him to find a great social revolutionary organization that is the self-respect movement. But unfortunately, it is being dubbed as anti-Brahmin, anti-God, anti-North. But let me tell, this is not a society. We want to create a society which is inclusive of all these people. It is not an exclusive thing. Whereas he fought against Brahminism. What is Brahminism? He fought against the Hindu caste system. Why he fought against the Hindu caste system? This will have to be clarified. And more than that, last speaker, our Professor Om Shankar, Dr. Om Shankar, has also suggested many things. And I am very happy that be thankful I will come to that point later on. But let me clarify first of all, why he started the self-respect movement. Because the dignity of individual is much more important than his bread. More than honor than the bread is the human trait. So self-respect is only the philosophy which includes everybody. It is not for you, it is not for me, it is for all. An inclusive society, Periyar wanted to create an inclusive, the ideology is always a unifying factor. In this land of ours, gods divide us, religion divides us, caste divides us, ritual divides us, shastras divides us, even at times various incidents and happenings divide us. But humanism unites us. That is the culture of this land. Yadum Ure, Yavarum Keli. That is the ancient saying. All places are ours. All are our kith and kin. Yadum Mure, Yavarum Kedi. That is our culture. We are not sectarians. We are not parochialists. We are not regionalists. We are not living in a kitchen pot. Let me clarify. Why we are against Brahminism? Why Periyar fought against Brahminism? Because it is an exclusive thing that divides people. Some people are higher caste people. Many, even though they are Meji, even though they are tillers of the soil, coors of the room, drawers of the water, they have no right. And human rights, basic human rights, right to education was denied to them. More than that, knowledge was no more their purview. They will have to be slaves. Once they are slaves, they always were. Once they are born, the birth, discrimination by birth, that was the core subject Periyar has taken up. We want to see all people get united together. That is a casteless society. That society is one and indivisible. That is more important. And why he was against Brahminism? Baba Sahib, Dr. Ambedkar has very rightly, because both of them subscribe to same view, because they know. And he very clearly, yes, what is this? What is the definition of Brahminism, which tells the philosophy of exclusivity? Don't include people all. Periyar's humanist movement is an inclusive movement. It wants to create an inclusive society. No discrimination, no dehumanization. Consider equal opportunity, equality for all, equal opportunities for all, liberty of thought and devotee and individual dignity. That is more important. It is all quite against the principle of exclusivism. That is Brahminism. That is very clearly said. Here, in short, simple sentences, he describes. This is Dr. Ambedkar. Let us hear Dr. Ambedkar. The cardinal principles of this philosophy of Brahminism are 5. 1. Graded inequality between the different classes. 2. Complete disarmament of Shudras and the untouchables. 3. Complete prohibition of the education of the Sudras and the untouchables. 4. Ban the Shudras and the untouchables occupying places of power and authority. 5. Ban the Shudras and the untouchables acquiring property. 6. Complete subjugation and suppression of women. Friends, is this the simple way of explaining what kind of exclusiveness was there practiced? Can you say in any part of the world, that too in an independent country, can you show with your little finger that anybody is an untouchable, unseeable, or unapproachable? These 3 terms are very detestable terms. They are attributed to human beings. That means they are no more considered to be the human beings. They are dehumanized. There lies the role of Periyar as a great social revolutionary. Periyar thought, why it should be? If it is because of God, we don't accept that God. If it is due to the religious sanctions, we don't accept that religion. If it is due to Shastras, throw that Shastras away. This kind of approach is more a scientific approach. The causes, he has felt. The remedy must be there. And I am very happy 2 of the doctors have participated here. Periyar introduced himself, his methodology as I'm no, my method is non-violence and all these things. I'm very happy that they have dealt it very good. By one analogy, Periyar himself has introduced, I don't believe in physician's cure. I believe in surgeon's cure. A surgeon's cure. The surgeon is not to kill the patient, but cure the patient. That is more important. That is why we want to include everything, everybody. So, the inclusive ideology, Periyar's ideology, includes everybody. Half of the population, half of the population of the world are women. What is the position? That too, particularly in the land of ours, what is their position? Baba Sahib has just now pointed out graded inequality. In that graded inequality, according to Manudharma Shastra, according to Gita, according to other things, they clearly says that it was I who created the four Varnas. It was I who created the Varnashrama Dharma. God himself openly tells, you believe that God or not, that means you will have to take it as a sanction. That is why Periyar found fault. Otherwise, he won't be, there won't be any necessity for him to approach that way also. He was, why he was made? He was not as such. He was pro-human. That is why he will have to include everybody. He will have to bring an inclusive society. That is why very clearly he has pointed out the evils and evil effects of this kind of caste system. And that is why he wants to do away with the discrimination. Discrimination by birth should do away. That was the first principle on which he founded the self-respect movement. That is uniting factor. Discrimination by birth, he does not mean by eradication of caste. He also includes the eradication of women's slavery. Women should also be the component equal partners. But the graded inequality, the system of Chaturvarna, the Varnashrama Dharma is Brahmin, next to Kshatriya, then third is Vaishya, fourth is Shudra, and fifth caste, the outcasts are untouchables, and lower than all these things, the sixth one is just like a ladder. The social rungs of the ladder, just like the ladder. They are having this one, the last one, women from all castes, even they hail from the upper caste, even they happen to be the Brahmin women, they are Namo Shudras. They are not supposed to get educated. They are not supposed to have any rights for education as well as rights, equal property and anything. So, the exclusive society must be completely changed. It must be made an inclusive society. That is the ideology, basic human ideology of Tandai Periyar. So he wants to bring equality and fraternity among all. That is the philosophy of Periyar. That is what the need of the hour. Because of the continuous depression, continuous degradation, continuous denying of the rights, legitimate rights to get education. Because the education was the monopoly of the upper caste. He has completely pointed out the six cardinal principles of Brahminism. So the Brahminism sprouted these ideas, this firm, and he wants to reform the society. And to reform the society means he will have to. By this way, I would like to clarify certain things. Our learned doctor friend, Om Shankar, has mentioned about that we are not against any particular language. We are not against it. Perhaps there is a misunderstanding. I would like to clarify and clear his misconception. We are not against reading any language, particularly Hindi. We have already published many literature in Hindi and all these things about Periyar. And particularly when there is an imposition, as pointed out by earlier speakers, when Mr. Rajagopalacharya and others, when they want to impose a particular language, it is not a question of language. It is a question of imposing a culture. When we call it, I am happy that Dr. Om Shankar has cleared that we Dravidians are always all of India. I welcome his statement. I support his statement. I second his statement. But at the same time, let me also say, in his learned book, Who Are Untouchables, Why They Are Untouchables, Baba Sahib Ambedkar has very rightly pointed out. The Nagas were the earlier Dravidians. Dravidians were throughout India. That is why Periyar, instead of denying it in a negative sense as non-Brahmin, he gave a very fitting cultural word, Dravidian. Why Dravidar Kazhagam? Why we are calling ourselves a Dravidian? And our friends, they are Dravidians in the northern part. We are Dravidians in the southern part. The Dravidian ideology is one and indivisible. Dravidian ideology is equality, providing equal opportunity, which never discriminates, which never dehumanizes anybody. That is the Dravidian ideology. Let me come to the question of language clarifications. The imposition, because if anybody studies Hindi, then let them study in a separate thing. But why should they impose on our people? Because already they don't understand this one. And that is not a question of language problem. It is a question of cultural problem. Sanskrit, for instance, they use the inclusive and exclusive thing is, if you take for all the rituals, why they are using it, not their mother tongue. In Tamil Nadu, then the question of why the Orthodox marriages are conducted, why the mantras in Sanskrit. When you go to the temple, they propitiate the god not in their own language, but only through somebody else. They use Sanskrit, and not as a language, but as an imposition of a culture. And it was they, not us, who divided us. And the exclusivity was practiced by them. On the other hand, we want to create an inclusive society. We want make everybody is an archaka. And why should you use only the language? Because they say, no, this is Deva Bhasha. Yours, Tamil, is a Nicha Bhasha. And even in language, this kind of inclusiveness and exclusiveness, the domineering aspect and the slavish chunk is going on. That is why Periyar has taken that line. That is why the Dravidian movement. And let me add, after the Mandal Commission, it is very clear. The backward community, the Periyar, fought against reservation when the Supreme Court declared, when communal GO was struck down. You all know the first amendment was brought by Nehru and Ambedkar when they are Prime Minister and Law Minister respectively. Because of Periyar incessant agitation, peaceful agitation, gathering the people, creating public opinion, we are able to do that. How? Who are the beneficiaries? My humble submission to our Dr. friend is the whole of India. It is not meant for Tamil Nadu. Of course, Tamil Nadu took the lead. Even still, Tamil Nadu has shown the way, 69%, and everybody wants to follow it. So, social integration. They were talking about national integration, only with the soil. We are talking about the people. Inclusiveness is, again, with the people. So, Mandal they called it as casteist. When social justice, savior of social justice, Our respectable, memorable, monumental, late lamented VP Singh, when he implemented the Mandal Commission, he was dubbed as a casteist by the commanders, by the upper caste people, by the press. But it was not so. Actually, to do our caste, to equate, to give equal opportunity, that was there. So, by the supporting, we came to North India. We never decided there is no South and North divide. We all say our brothers, our sisters who are there in any parts of India, when they are not given the opportunity to get education, when they are not given an opportunity to get their due reservation, due share, we care and share. That is the inclusiveness. Once again, repeat, we care for all. We share with all. That is more important. That is why we are doing it. So, our society, our philosophy of Periyar, the self-respect philosophy is under the whole humanity. There is no dividing line at all. Political, just like our internet, just like our science. Science is not an exclusive thing for any country. Of course, a scientist may belong to a particular part of the country, but the inventions he has made becomes world property. It is a property. It is inclusive for all of people. The drug that was invented by one person may be administered to any nook and corner of another world. That is meant for the humanity at large. So the self-respect philosophy is meant for humanity. But the problem lies under this system. There are countries, there are governments, there are lights, because there are state and there are a center. There is states and there is federal. Like all these things, these are all, above all, when the question of inclusiveness comes, it denotes only human beings. And human vast sea of human beings must be one and indivisible. Let them all, there need not be. So, Periyar's inclusive philosophy was against any division of the people. Neither upper caste nor lower caste, neither touchable nor untouchable, no approachable or unapproachable. You socialize education. Give everybody actual. You see, why the reservation? Some people ask, because the demand is more and supply is less. When the supply is equal to demand, there is no necessity for reservation at all. It is an affirmative people. It is an affirmative action. Even in advanced countries like America, that is why it is not to divide people. Let me clarify, because some mischievous comments are made. There may be some misconception, or there may be some mischievous comment. Even recently, in our High Court of Chennai, Madras, one judge asked, how long you are going to have this kind of caste reservation? Then immediately we replied suitably, we are ready to finish it. You just announce tomorrow there won't be any caste at all. Caste is abolished instead of untouchability under the Article 17. Caste is abolished. You substitute the word caste, and it's any form, because caste marks are there. When you bear the holy thread, the so-called holy sacred thread, when you put the caste marks, all these things are to be prohibited. Everybody looks automatically as human beings. We welcome it. You declare today, tomorrow, we are not for reservation. Till a bridge is to be built, we answered. till a bridge is to be built, the alternative route is the diversion road. So also it is not an inclusive versus exclusiveness. It is not a division of people or division of dividing people. It is not denying the opportunity. It is a distribution equally among those. And that too, caring more for the starved people than for the garbandizers. That is more important. That is why this Periyar's philosophy, and it caters also, and let me introduce our doctor also, Periyar's feminism. Periyar, he openly asks how half of the population of this country, this world, why should they be slaves? Because Periyar self-respect movement fought for the rights also, just like because they were also dehumanized. And how this dehumanization was done, this philosophy now cast everywhere. Recently, I had gone through a book. This is about Isabel Wilkerson, about the caste. How in discrimination, how the exclusiveness is again versus, and the completely inclusiveness is the order of, is being denied. That is a very recently, very wonderfully they have done. There is a separate chapter called Dehumanization and Stigma. This is more than that. Discriminating among human beings is one thing. The worst part of it is dehumanizing, and that too with a stigma. Very clearly, the author, Isabel Wilkerson, very wonderfully she describes this one. Dehumanization is a standard component in the manufacture of an outgroup against which to pit an in-group, out-group and in-group, exclusiveness and inclusiveness. The philosophy underlines that, the undercurrent lines this. It is a monumental task. That great monumental task was taken by our leader, by our mentor, the great revolutionary, the selfless Periyar. He fought for that too with a non-violence material. He never sought. I am very happy the learned speakers of this August gathering has dealt very nicely, beautifully about that one. And that too, the self-sacrifice and suffering is not the suffering of the public. We never, even when during the agitations, we never caused any trouble to the public property, damage to the public property. His methodology. He was very strict in giving instruction. Don't disobey a policeman when he comes to arrest you. Don't create a law and order problem for the public. Tranquility of peace should not be smashed. So get yourself. So the self-ailment, self-sacrifice, self-suffering is one thing which is very unique in Periyar's movement. It is more than Gandhi Satyagraha, more than Gandhi Ahimsa. Dehumanize the group, and you have completed the work of dehumanizing any single person with it. Dehumanize the group, and you quarantine them from the masses you choose. So, the great work of this ideologies movement is, my dear friends, what is the relevance of Periyar? Why Periyar is being a very effective weapon against the cultural conquest, against this kind of imposition, against this fascist ideology, against to save the democracy, save the rationality. Reason, Periyar stood for it. And he was accommodating any views. He was for questioning anything and everything. He will also be got questioned and he answered. So also our approach and Periyar's approach, Periyar's relevance even today is much more important than for yesterday. It is for today and tomorrow. That is why I'm very happy on this 142nd birthday, which is not a mere ritual, which is not a mere ceremony, which is a celebration to rededicate ourselves. Yeah, use the word reinvent by our student friends, student community. Our dear comrades, our dear brothers and sisters, let me appeal to all. Periyar is a great humanist. He stood for humanism. He is not a parochial exclusivism. He is not a fanatic. He is not, he is a great humanist. And his humanism is everywhere. There is a small divide. Periyar wants to do away with. Apart from all these divisions of caste, gender, and all these things, Periyar's ideology has gone everywhere, which never allowed any small discrimination. Take, for instance, the people say India lives in villages. There is a divide between urban and rural divide. And rural become the urgent parts. People are educating and all these things. Periyar's ideology went there and he said there should be no divide between urban and rural. Because urban becomes exclusivity. Some kind of people enjoy at the cost of others, at the cost of rural people. There must be equalization, equal opportunities. That is why providing urban amenities to rural areas, that was the idea suggested by him long time back as a village reform. That was adopted by when Abdul Kalam, when he was the president of the country. He introduced the scheme PURA, providing rural amenities to urban facilities, providing urban rural amenities to PURA, providing rural urban areas, providing facilities. ஆகவே PURA. And he named it as Periyarpura. That is why I am telling Periyar's ideology is all pervasive. Wherever human beings live, wherever they are being discriminated, wherever injustice was done, he wanted to have justice. I am very happy that today's
has done wonderful effect. Let us spread the message of Periyar, not only to India, everywhere.
Is the only answer for the problems that confronts us today, for the challenges that we will have to meet due to time. And we are happy that you listen to that. Kindly don't accept. But as Periyar used to tell in every public meeting, you think it over, ponder over it, analyze it, and if you are agreeable, then immediately implement it. Don't hesitate to practice in your life. That is his methodology. Let us all remind ourselves. Let us rededicate. Long live Periyar. Long live self-respect. Thank you very much.